Welcome in to another episode of the Armchair Illini podcast. My name is Alex. I'm the owner of Armchair Illini, joined by my good friend Robby Nardini here. Illini got a huge win. Let's go. They went to Lincoln, Nebraska. Ninth ranked Illinois went into Pinnacle Bank Arena, where not many teams go, and they beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are currently ranked number five. Gave Nebraska their second loss of the season. Really, really big time performance. 78 to 69. Illinois was actually down six at the half, but they outscored the Nebraska Cornhuskers 45 to 30. And just massive, massive road win for the Illini, who do this two weekends in a row. They went to Mackey Arena last week, who beat number four Purdue at the time, and now they go to Lincoln to beat Nebraska. Robby, what a game, what a win. We were both wrong, and we're glad to be wrong. For those of you who are listening, we got quite some fleck for picking Nebraska to beat Illinois, but hey, if it works, I'm down to keep picking against these guys.
Yeah, let's go. I'm pumped up, man. I know I was super pumped after the Purdue game, and I picked us to lose in this game against Nebraska, and we exceeded expectations. We exceeded what I thought we would do. I really thought Nebraska would be a really tough place to play and get a win, which it is. You saw all the white in that stadium. I saw a tiny bit of orange, but I think it was mostly white in that stadium, and this Illini team continues to impress. We've really, come onto the scene and as a national contender now. I think, for most of the season, we're really good. We're really good in the Big Ten, blah, blah, blah. But now we're really a Final Four contender and one of the best teams in the country. And we might never lose again, but hopefully we keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this without Kylan Boswell. You got two major, major victories without Kylan Boswell, your senior leader. This team is not as good without him. I think I do want to say that. I know I saw some comments saying, hey, maybe Illinois is better without Boswell, but no, Kylan Boswell elevates this team, and he got two major, major road wins. And he's expected to come back hopefully in a few weeks. You saw him on court doing some, offhand stuff, things like that. But really big performance again from Keaton Wagler, 28 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals as well. Really handled Sam Hoiberg, DeMarcus Lawrence guarding him really well. He had a majority of those 28 points in the second half. They did a good job of him on the first half. And big games from Jake Davis, 13 points, 3 rebounds. I think that's probably the highest that I've seen it. Maybe he had 15 if he hit like 5 threes or something like that in the past, but really good game from him. That game or that play where Tommy kind of hit the assist to get Jake in the corner to go up four was massive. And it seemed like Illinois was in control of this game for a better part of the game, except for that little 6 minute run to end the first half where Nebraska really hit some shots, corner threes, kind of attacked the man to man defense that the Illini were playing. But it just seemed like Illinois had the answer for all of whatever Nebraska wanted to do. You saw Braden Frager hit 6 threes, but I think Illinois withstood that, and really big performances from all the guys in the starting lineup. And Zvonimir Ivisic off the bench, who had 7 points and 7 rebounds.
Yeah, of course, Mast and Frager played because that's the Illini way. We don't have anything go our way. And like Brad Underwood always says, we want the hardest road. So we got it, and we still won. Frager had a really good game. He looked like he was completely healthy. Mast did not have a good game whatsoever. I think he ended with 0 points, or he ended up with 5 points, but he had 0 points, and he was 0 for 8 for most of the game. Towards the end, he had a couple buckets, but we did a really good job kind of bouncing back from that end of the half. They had the momentum on their home court, and we were down 6. So really happy with the halftime adjustments. We changed up their defenses a lot. Zone, did a little trapping, obviously did man-to-man as well, and was really happy with our performance there. And I'm the biggest Jake Davis guy you'll meet, so I'm happy to hear he had success today. He had, like you said, I think 13 points, 3 for 6 from 3. He had a nice defensive play towards the end of the game. I think he got a block there and had a couple big rebounds. So obviously he stepped in for Kylan really well in the starting lineup. It really shows how good our bench is with Z and Davis. And I know Rickhouse had 0 points, but he had some good defensive plays and rebounds too. And I talked about that on the pregame spaces for the Champagne Room earlier today. I think our bench is just way better than theirs other than Frager, and we kind of saw that towards the end of the game, and we had guys step up when needed.
Yeah, I think before in the preview we were talking about some keys to the game. We mentioned Andrei Stojakovic had not the best game, 8 points, 4 assists. But we talk about when Ben Humberkaus and Jake Davis are playing really well, this team is bound to win. And Jake Davis had that. Ben Humberkaus obviously didn't shoot the ball well. He was 0 for 6 from three. But he had two really, really huge blocks. So he's really had some timely blocks at different points of the season. And I forgot who Jake Davis blocked. I think it was a drive to the rim, and Jake got it. It was somewhere deep into the second half. You mentioned second half adjustments. Like I said, Illinois outscored Nebraska in the second half, 45-30. They were down 6, 33-39 at the half, and obviously came back to win the game. What were some of the adjustments that you saw the Illini made?
Yeah, that was a sick block by Ben too. I still can't believe he did that. He really got up. I didn't think he had those kind of ups on him. I know he's got a couple, maybe one putback dunk and maybe a block here and there, but that was a huge momentum shifting play. And I think just our offense just continued to wear them down in the second half. That was the best ball movement I've seen in a very long time from an Illinois team. I got a text from one of my buddies saying they look like the Spurs right now, and they had Duncan and Manu and Tony Parker. I mean, this ball movement was crazy. You could tell they had a game plan going into the game for their traps and for their no middle defense. You saw a lot of guys flashing towards the middle when there was double teams, or the short corner was open a good amount too. So I think our offense in the second half really just wore them down, and our defense started to lock in on Price Sanford a little bit more. He was, I thought he was going to go off again. I mean, he looked like Klay Thompson in the first half, and he still had a pretty good game, but he got 9 threes up, 4 for 9 from three, 5 for 11 total, and he had a really good game. But I think just being able to lock in defensively. I know they were going to shoot a lot of threes, and so were we. But I felt like in the first half they were so wide open on some of these threes, especially for Frager, and we kind of just locked in, changed up our defense, which I've been happy about.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that defense, Fred Hoiberg had some interesting things to say afterwards. Wanted to get your thoughts on that. Fred Hoiberg post-game press conference. Here's what Coach Hoiberg had to say. Sorry.
They gotta let Price run. He's getting held, he's getting grabbed. Our offense, freedom of movement. I mean, that's got to be enforced. So I thought Price with his movement. We run I think a pretty aesthetically pleasing offense. But when you're being held, you can't run it. And so we're going to continue to try to do it and cut and with force and do everything we can, to get these guys open and free them up. But it's tough at times when you're out there.
Agree? Disagree?
Cry me a river, Fred. Come on. I mean, he's going off for 1,000,000 points in the first game. You think we're not going to try to get physical with him? It's the Big Ten. It's college basketball. I get the free throw. We had a ton more free throws than them. I get that argument. Maybe they should have shot more free throws. I can see there, but come on, it's the Big Ten. You're going to be physical. We were just a more physical team, and they couldn't handle it at the end of the day. And not taking away from Price whatsoever. I think he's amazing. I think he's an NBA player, but we got physical with him, and he didn't like it. He still hit a couple shots, and we don't foul on defense. So it's not like it's just a one-game, one-off type thing where we have 0 fouls the entire game. I mean, the whole season we haven't fouled anyone. So I don't really understand those complaints. He's giving props to his own offense, which he's a great coach, great offense, but come on, let's be real.
Yeah, I think the physicality was spot on from Illinois. Price destroyed you in Champaign, and then he looked like he was going to go off in that first half there. If he gets a little bit of airspace, that ball's going in. So
He doesn't even need space either, to be honest.
exactly. You saw some of the shots that he hit at the beginning of the game. It was like, oh, here we go again. So I obviously a little biased being an Illinois guy, but I didn't see a problem with it. And I think a lot of teams are going to have the same thing. You can make the same argument for how teams try to guard Keaton Wagler,
Mhm.
but Illinois schemes against it. They have another guy bring the ball up, whether that's Merkovich, whether it's Stojakovic, and teams don't really attack that. So there's ways to fight around, your best shooter. So I do not agree with Fred there, and I think it's just kind of a cry after a loss there. But Illinois did a great job on Price Stanford. He ended up with 14 points. It feels like a majority of those points were in the first half. A big contrast to his day in Champaign.
Yeah, and I mean, Price averages 17 points per game. So you talk about slowing guys down. We did it with Martinelli. We did it with Kate Tyson. You're not going to hold Price Sanford to 0 points. So, holding someone under their average like we've done over the past few games, I think that's a success. We did really well. Andre did not have a good offensive game, but I think he did well enough on Price. And we also had some other guys step up too defensively just to be good enough. And Nebraska only scored 69 points. Fred wants to talk about a nice looking offense, and they scored 69 points. So, I mean, we were at the end of the day, we were physical. And if, I mean, that's about it. You're playing a Brad Underwood team. You knew that we were going to be physical. It's a high level basketball type game, but I was really happy with our defense overall, especially without Kylan.
Yeah, and on that note, Kylan Boswell, and we haven't played with him, and we've won two major games against top five opponents. Um, I don't think this changes in terms of when he comes back, and I think he fits in smoothly. Obviously, you're going to see Jake play a little less, and I think hopefully you can get Keaton to get some blow and not have to play 38, 39, 40 minutes a game. So I think that's the biggest thing when Kylan gets back. But what are your thoughts on if Kylan, comes back soon, or when he does, how this team looks, and do you think there will be any changes? Because it doesn't really look like much has changed, and I think kudos to Jake Davis, Ben Markhouse, and I really love the lineup with Z, Tommy, Merck at the three, and then either Jake or Ben at the two, and Keaton at the one. Especially when Andre is not really hitting shots and falling a little behind on defense, things like that.
Yeah, it's a really big lineup for sure. I think a lot of people going into the season wanted to see Z and Tommy play together, and then you got Merck at the three, which is obviously a huge lineup. We're already the biggest team in the country by average height. You have that lineup out there, and Keaton's big. Jake is a big two guard for sure. So definitely like that lineup. I know there's been some chatter about if Keaton or not Keaton, if Kylan should start, or if this Illinois team is better without Kylan, and I just don't agree with that whatsoever. I think that maybe Jake will play a little bit more. Ben might play a little bit more, but we still need our defensive anchor, Kylan, to come back. And I think the offense has looked just as good because everyone we have on our team is special on offense pretty much. So you don't really miss a beat when Kylan's out. But I think at the end of the day, you need your leader and you need a really good defensive guard like Kylan to come back.
Yeah, for sure. Illini fans, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. I really appreciate all your guys' viewership. Do want to shout out our sponsor. It is the official Illini NIL store at Campus Inc. We're proud to be partnered with them. Get your favorite merch, including this Keaton Wagler shirt or crew neck. We recently had an Andre Stojakovic Fighting Illini patch drop. Those are very nice things too. So be sure to check out the Campus Inc.'s official NIL store. And if you do, be sure to use code Armchair Illini, that is Armchair Illini in all caps, for 15% off of your order over at Campus Inc.'s official NIL store. Shout out to those guys. Was there a play of the game for you outside of the Tommy kind of tap pass to Jake? I mentioned that was so huge, where it put Illinois up by 4 when Illinois was only up 1. It seemed like Nebraska was trying to punch back a little bit, and then we really got some momentum after that. Went up 4. Merkovich hit a layup on the next drive, and we're up 6. And Hoiberg called the timeout after that, I believe. So, was there a play of the game besides that really stuck out to you?
Yeah, that play was awesome. I honestly had to rewatch it. I didn't even realize what happened. I know, it kind of looked like, since I was watching in a bar, and obviously the screen was big, it kind of looked like it just got hit to Jake. But then, rewatching it, I realized that Tommy obviously purposely tipped that ball, which is an insane play. One of the best plays of the season, I think. Just the IQ to know that there's 2 or 3 seconds on the shot clock, know that he has 2 guys on him, and Jake is open in the corner. I think that was one of the best plays I've seen in a while. But just in terms of other than that, I really like both the dunks, the oops to Z. Keaton had one that was from pretty far distance.
Like the logo.
Yeah, from the logo, and he just threw a perfect pass to Z, dunk. I mean, Z had a couple highlight plays in this game. It's hard to choose. He had a couple dunks. He had a huge block. I said pregame I thought he was going to have a good game since he struggled against Washington, so I'm happy to see that he did. But I think that Keaton to Z alley-oop from a far distance was probably my favorite play.
Yeah, agreed. I think they should use Z a little bit more as a lob threat. I think that sometimes he gets camped down on the 3, and kind of gets caught shooting a lot, but he's not as comfortable with his back to the basket as his brother is. But I do think as a lob threat, kind of how they used Merez Johnson last year in some instances, I really think that could be a nice little wrinkle as Illinois heads into March Madness, the end of February, and some really really big time games. Illinois remains the top ranked offense on KenPom. Now they're 7-3 in the first quadrant game, or quad one games, excuse me. 10-3 in the first two quadrants, seventh overall per Bart Torvik. Again, that is all likely to change a little bit overnight, as the rest of the games get played out. Robby, now Illinois is tied with Michigan at the top of the Big Ten standings, 10-1 overall in the Big Ten. It seems like we're headed towards a big time matchup on February 27th when Morez Johnson returns back to Champaign. What are some of your thoughts on the rest of the Big Ten race?
That's exactly why I bought tickets before the season to that Michigan game. Didn't necessarily think Illinois and Michigan would be fighting for a Big Ten championship. I thought Purdue, would be in the mix too, but we're looking at a potential Big Ten championship game, a regular season on that February 27th. So I'm super excited there. Just in terms of bracketology, I got Illinois on as the best number 2 as of right now, subject to change before I officially tweet it out tomorrow. But top of the 2 line, Michigan is going to be a 1 seed as of right now. We're looking at a game February 27th for a potential 1 seed, potential Midwest region in Chicago trip. I mean, there's so much on the line. Plus, Morez is coming back; is going to get booed like crazy. There's a lot to unpack in that game. And it looks like Michigan and Illinois are at the top right now, but we can't really forget that Michigan State and Nebraska are only 1 game out. There's still 9 more games. Teams, lose games they aren't supposed to lose every single year. Similar to that Wisconsin loss when we won the Big Ten in 2022. Stuff like that happens. So Michigan's probably the favorite. I know I've been on the Nebraska train for a while, but Illinois has really inserted themselves as a, one of the favorites for a Big Ten title.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that Illinois can beat you. You have the offense being what it is, and it never seems like they get a bad shot. Like they always get the shot that they want. It's always about a matter of whether that shot goes in. I think 6 of Ben Harmerkaus's looks were pretty open, so it's not really a shot at him. But it just goes to say that a lot of their shots are shots that they want. And I think they dictate the pace. They dictate a lot of things, and it feels really good to just play on your terms, game in and game out, no matter who the opponent is, whether that's Purdue, whether that's Nebraska, or any team that you do play. So very impressive stuff from Illinois. And you saw, like you said, the defensive changes. They played some zone, which really, really confused Nebraska, I think, at the beginning. They were hitting shots and then they went zone and kind of locked things down. And then Nebraska started to figure it out, hit a bunch of corner threes, and then they went a little bit away from it. So I think the adjustments on both sides of the ball have been super, super impressive. Any final thoughts, Robby, on this game before we put this one to bed?
I think just we saw the versatility, like you mentioned, in this Illinois team. We saw Tommy and Merck and Z do a lot of short rolls on the pick and rolls, and we saw the passing ability by all those guys. Merck and Tommy had some really nice passes in this game. Tommy, I thought, had a really, really quiet, good game, 5 for 7 from the field, 8 rebounds. So I want to give him a shout out for the game today. We really just saw the big guys being able to pass the ball very well. And I talked about it earlier, but the ball movement was just amazing. I mean, I hope I see that every single game of the year. And we got another quad 1A win. And I know I guess final thoughts, I picked against Illinois, Purdue, and this game against Nebraska. We got some comments regarding those. Trying to be an unbiased analyst here, So I'm obviously a huge Illini guy. Spoiler, I am going to pick the Illini at Michigan State, which I said a while ago. So don't come at me for that. But I'm glad we won today.
Yeah, we are both very glad that we were wrong in our game day predictions. And I think for me, if you get to know me, a part of me is a little superstitious and is
me too.
low key afraid to pick Illinois in these big games because I've been hurt before. And I think the guys that have graduated in our time period, whether it's for me, it was 2017. I know for you, it was a couple years later. We've been hurt before, especially if you kind of look at that IO year being like the first good year in forever. And we lost to Loyola. So I think it's still some scars, but appreciate you guys kind of giving us some feedback. We will be back in just a bit just to preview the second round of the Illinois versus Northwestern games. That will be Wednesday in Champaign, State Farm Center. Not much has changed in terms of the Northwestern Wildcats, but we will be there to preview it. This has been the Armchair Illini podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to tune into our next episodes. And as always, give us some feedback on how we're doing. We're always happy to hear your thoughts. ILL.